Hello, hello, my lovely Sagittarians, Sagittariuses. Welcome back to the channel today. We are going to be doing your weekly reading for March 25th through April 7th. We have some really big stuff going on in these next few weeks here. On March 25th, for your very first card, you have the full moon happening in the sign of Libra. This is not just any full moon, this is a very special full moon. This is actually a full moon, lunar eclipse, super moon. It's the first full moon of spring, which determines the date of Easter. Those of you that do observe that holiday, it's a very important moon for that reason. But mostly it's because this is the start of eclipse season. This full moon's purpose is to illuminate things in us that need changed. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's illuminating the things in our life that are no longer working for us that maybe we can make some adjustments with. It's allowing things to be brought to the surface, to the forefront of our minds, so that we can process them, so that we can elevate and move ourselves into a higher frequency of being. So even though these next few weeks between the super full moon in Libra to the new moon in Aries on the following week after this reading, I hope that's making sense. There's a full moon, the full moon in Libra, new moon will be happening in Aries in 2 weeks. And that, because guess what, eclipse season, it means that new moon is going to be part of a solar eclipse in 2 weeks. And in between that, on the very first day of April, for this first card here for you Sagittarius, this is the first day of Mercury retrograde. So we have a full moon, Mercury retrograde, and then new moon in the following week for your next reading that I'll do. So there's a lot of big stuff happening. A lot of stuff being brought into light, preparing us for setting our manifestations on that new moon happening in Aries on the 14th. I am doing something a little bit different with my readings. I am starting to pull oracle cards for the beginning of the week, and I'm really liking the way the readings have been going so far with this, so I think this is going to be something I incorporate in future readings as well. With that being said, let's go ahead and read your oracle cards here. Starting off, Sagittarius, you have the Swan Spirit, which says time for a deep dive. So this full moon is going to be causing you to do some deep diving. This is going to be bringing up a lot of inner work for you at this time. Your next card here is the Frog Spirit, which says clear out the clutter. Diving deep, clearing out the clutter, clearing out the things that block us from seeing our true self. Some of you may be even physically clearing out clutter within your life, things within your physical home. But I feel like a lot of this clutter that's being cut out is things that are just no longer serving you. Old ideas about the way things should work, old expectations, the impossible standards that we can set for ourselves, things like that. Your very last oracle card here is the White Raven Spirit, which says trust in the magic. Trust in the magic of what is occurring right now within this time. Trust in the magic of things within your life. Things are always working towards your highest good, the highest good of yourself, and the highest good of the collective. Trusting in that magic, it allows you to be a little bit more flexible when things do happen. When obstacles come your way, trust is what helps you get through them. Trusting that there will be a clear path shown to you, or at least there will be your next step. If you can't see the whole path, trusting that you can make the next step. Trusting that in the in-between space, that you are always working towards your highest good. You are always cared for. Let's go ahead and get started with your tarot cards now. We have, as I said, on Monday, March 25th, which is the full moon happening in Libra, you have the Two of Swords. So this full moon could very well be illuminating some sort of conflict. This is conflict of thought. You could be thinking about 2 different scenarios or 2 different things that you should be doing. Some of you may be caught between the next action that you have to take. If you're looking for a new job, you may be in this place of conflict between, should I really leave my current job? Where should I possibly look at for a new job? Some of you could just be having that conflict of not necessarily wanting to leave where you're at. Maybe because it has really good benefits, you know. Maybe you're afraid to leave this space because you have good benefits while you're here, but it's not really something that you want to be doing, or it's taking too much of your energy to keep trying to do this job. If this is a job, this is also just conflict of thought towards yourself. I mean, we had that swan spirit of taking a deep dive. Some of you have a disconnect that's happening between who you are and who you want to be, or who you think you are and who you really are. And I mean that in like, I feel like some of you maybe have some negative thoughts about yourself that are tainting the way that you are handling things. You see yourself in one way. Some of you could be thinking that you're a bad person, when in reality your actions are showing that actually you're a good person. You're giving yourself not enough credit for the things that you do. It's just conflict in the purest form. And when this conflict is happening, it's that makes it feel as though there's no right way to go. Both sides have equal merit. Both sides have equal force happening here, pulling you equally in both directions to where there's no movement happening. You know, if they're pulling equally, there's nowhere for you to go. You're just kind of stuck in the middle of this. Your very next card here for Tuesday is the Seven of Cups, which is having so many choices available to you that there's this sense of overwhelm. It's almost like trying to think so far ahead, trying to weigh all the possible outcomes of something to the point of madness, essentially. You're trying so hard to find the right way to do something where you are so afraid to make the wrong choice. You're afraid that if you don't think this far ahead, if you don't think about every possible way that this thing could go wrong, that you're trying to avoid, you know, pain. You're trying to avoid hurt in the long run from making the wrong choice. But I feel like really the choice is a lot simpler than that. I feel like there's a lot of anxiety behind this choice, but really there's a lot more simplicity behind it. Yeah, like if your choice is between a job that is sucking the life out of you, a job that maybe pays you a little bit less but leaves you feeling free, I mean, that really doesn't feel like much of a choice, you know? But the Seven of Cups is like thinking about all the ways that could go wrong. Oh, well, this other job doesn't pay as much. What if I can't pay my bills? What if I can't, you know, insert whatever the anxiety is here. It's really trying to think about all the ways that things could possibly go wrong. It's from an effort of like harm reduction, but really it's just being afraid of making the wrong choice. But you have to move on from it because you have the Six of Swords in reverse. A lot of this fear of things going wrong is because in the past you could have experienced something similar where it did go wrong. So a lot of this anxiety is coming from a place of things already having happened to you like this in the past. You may be afraid to leave a job and have it not work out because maybe you already did something like that once before. But the Six of Swords in reverse is saying that you need to let that go. You need to allow the past to be in the past and to not have an effect over your current future. You know, you want things to change. You want things to be different. And so you have to be willing to make choices that will bring you to a different place. Even if that different place does hold a fear of this thing not working out. You have to stop thinking about this thing not working out. You have to start thinking about what if this thing does work out. Instead of thinking what won't, think what if it did? You know, what would your life look like if this thing did work out for the positive? Some of you, I feel like there's a very common feeling of being afraid to hope for something because I feel like some of you feel like if you hope for it, that's going to make it go away, that's going to jinx it. You're afraid to get excited about it. You're afraid to look ahead towards it because you're afraid that if you get too attached to it and that it doesn't work out, that it's going to hurt more in the long run. But I feel like you got to start looking at what if this does work out, because there is actually a very positive indication that it could. This thing very well could work out way better than you expect it to. Your very next card after that is the Nine of Pentacles. So if you're afraid of making this change because of money, I would say this is like, don't even worry about it. Like, the Nine of Pentacles is independence. It's not just like financial independence. Yes, financial independence, but individual independence. Not having to rely on other people, because you know that no matter what, you got you. You are able to take care of whatever it is that you need in any situation, regardless. So that independence of your resources, your money, independence of your time, independence of your home and family and future. Understanding that, like, yeah, this thing very well could lead you to this independence. But it takes that little bit of a leap of faith. Trust in the magic with that White Raven spirit. Definitely trust in the magic. You're being brought to this place for a reason. You're being led in this direction to make this change for a reason, and it's something that's going to bring you greater wealth in the long run. Maybe physical wealth, maybe actual monetary wealth. But I feel like the other benefits of it, the wealth of the soul, the wealth of your energy, and the wealth of time that you have for yourself now, I feel like that is honestly the most important part. We move on to your next card on Friday for the Devil card. Now, when you look at this card, you can see that there's this stairway at the back of this person's mind leading out of their subconscious. I think that the subconscious mind has this way of communicating with us in unpredictable ways. Tarot is one of those ways that our unconscious mind is able to communicate. They say that our unconscious mind is unable to communicate with words, that it's able to communicate with pictures and feelings. And it's this piece of us that is our instinct. So knowing when the right time to make a move is, knowing when it's the right time to react, knowing when to listen. A lot of this decision-making process that's happening for you right now, Sagittarius, is that in the hindbrain. You instinctually know what it is that is happening right now. You instinctually know that this change that is happening is something that is going to be good for you. I think you instinctually also know that your own thoughts or your own resistances to this thing happening or these changes happening is because of a fear from the past. I think part of you knows that it's not valid, but it's something that's being brought up anyway. Maybe you know why, maybe you don't know why, but I feel like there is something happening here that your unconscious brain is aware of. We also had that Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. Some of you are going to have to get in touch with your hindbrain, your inner self. This is actually like the deeper self that doesn't necessarily always get a chance to talk to us. It's always communicating. They say that our lower subconscious is always listening, regardless of whether we're asleep or awake, always listening to things around us. But this is allowing it the space to communicate to you. Meditation could be very, very useful. It always is very useful. It's a very good tool to have, but practicing meditation, making sure that you're staying up on, reading your own tarot if you read for yourself, or, making sure that you are in touch with readings, meditations, maybe even dream journaling to listen to those messages. Whatever it is, I feel like a lot of you are going to need to make sure that you are connected, and taking the time to quiet the speaking mind, quiet the upper mind, and allow the inner mind to speak to you. Quieting yourself so that you can hear the message that needs to be said, so that you can navigate this. You can hear from yourself what the truth is. Your next card here is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like this is a changing of the energy. Normally this is about the balance, how you are physically balancing things, making sure that you're balancing your tasks and your responsibilities. But I feel like this is the balance of the energy. If your mind is telling you, hey, it's time to leave this place, don't rush into it. Don't go and just quit your job that very same day and walk out, right? Make sure that you are doing your due diligence. Make sure that you are being intentional with the steps that you're taking. Don't allow the excitement of doing something different to overtake you and cause you to make bad decisions. It wouldn't cause you because it would be your decision that you made. Don't allow yourself to make bad decisions, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I feel like that's you needing to balance your energy with this. Don't put so much into trying to figure this out that you burn yourself out in a day. And your last card for week 1 here is the Ace of Cups. So, this is your heart. This is really the thing that brings you life, brings you energy, gives you hope, helps you feel happy and joyful and connected with yourself, but also with others. So do something on this Sunday to fill up your cup. I actually think this would be Easter Sunday. So yeah, some of you might actually be getting together with family on this Sunday and enjoying some time. And it really is something that will fill up your heart to be with your family or be with your community and experiencing love, experiencing happiness, contentment within the moment. Yeah, I feel like a lot of you are just realizing that this change or this thing that you're wanting to move towards, this new direction, is something that will fill up your cup. I think maybe you might get a glimpse at what this future will look like for you, and it gets you really excited to get there. It gets you really excited to experience it. Let's move on to week 2. Week 2, starting off on your first card on Monday, is April 1st. And as we said, this is the start of Mercury retrograde. So, it hits you like a train, I feel like. I feel like it's going to hit very intensely. Mercury retrograde can kind of throw things off a little bit for a lot of people. Sagittarius, your cards, though, look so good for week 2. Like, I don't think it's going to mess with you too much. It actually looks like you're more focused on the intention of starting something new. So April 1st for you is when you say, I'm going to start over. I'm going to start anew, and I'm going to start looking at doing something different. Moving into the actual tarot for that day, you have the 10 of Wands in reverse. This is about releasing the weight, releasing the things that are burdening you and weighing you down. In this card, this person is so focused on carrying this really heavy weight that their gaze is only looking at their feet. They're so burdened by the things that they're carrying that they can only focus on taking one step at a time. You know, they say, it's like that saying of, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So I feel like, you know, this is you moving away from carrying this weight. You're finally allowing this thing to come down a little bit and not be so prevalent, not weigh you down so much. I feel like it's really this sense of freedom. Now that you have been exposed to this choice, now that you have come to the decision about what you want and the future you want to see for yourself, you're unburdened by the weight of expectation, unburdened by the weight of your past, really. Moving on to Tuesday, you have the Princess of Swords. And this is about dreaming for your future. This is about looking ahead with clear thought and intention toward the thing that you want. This is a person who is thinking and coming up with the plan. So, like I said, don't rush into executing this choice. You need to think about and be intentional about the steps that it's going to take to get there. So like I said, don't go and quit your job in one day. Don't go and, you know, sell your house immediately and not renew your rent or whatever. Like, make sure that you're making intentional choices, taking intentional steps to get this thing done. And don't just rush into doing something. You have to make sure that you have planned properly for this thing to happen. It's not just going to happen or fall into your lap because you will it. It's going to take dedicated steps. Your next card here is the Two of Wands. So we had the Two of Swords, which is conflict of thought. But the Two of Wands is conflict of choice, conflict of direction. So there are two different paths that are tempting you at this time. Two different paths that you find yourself leaning towards. Some of you, your change that you are making could be the choice between maybe more than just where you are now and where you want to be. This could be like the actual two different job choices. So instead of just finding yourself between staying in your current job and moving on to one, you may actually have two job choices to choose between. I feel like this path, this choice that's being presented to you, I feel like both choices are gonna just lead to the same place. I feel like it's like the illusion of choice. They may feel very different, but they'll have very similar results. So I feel like you're good to go either way. I feel like it's more just about deciding what you want. I feel like that's a good choice, you know, having these options available to you with similar outcomes. It allows you to kind of think about which experience you want to have along the way. Anyway, let's keep going. Your next card here is the Eight of Swords, which is about being blind to the things that are hidden, being blind to something that is without your reach. So, some of you, there's something here that is hidden from you. There's something here that's not in sight. There's something unexpected that's going to occur from this choice, and I feel like it's kind of mysterious. I feel like it's even hidden to me a little bit right now. There's an illusion of choice. Your two choices are going to lead you somewhere that is pretty similar, but there's something along the way that is hidden that you can't see. I feel like at the beginning you had that Seven of Cups card, and I feel like you were trying very hard to avoid something that was unavoidable. I feel like it doesn't matter how much thinking ahead that you're going to do. I feel like, yeah, whatever it is that's going to happen here, there's something here that's unexpected that you don't quite see. You don't see this thing coming your way. But regardless of the path that you take with that Two of Wands, it doesn't matter. Either way, you're coming up on this Eight of Swords. Okay, your next card here is the Five of Swords. And then the card after that is the Tower. So I feel like the thing that you don't see coming here, Sagittarius, the thing that you are blinded to from that Eight of Swords is the Five of Swords and the Tower. It's the conflict. Five of Swords is literally conflict with others. So this could even be sometimes like getting in a fight with people who are near you, fighting with friends or family, fighting with coworkers about, stupid stuff that they don't want to listen to you about. I feel like this is actually like a big conflict. This is a big conflict that brings about this Tower moment. You had this card with the Frog Spirit about clearing out the clutter. You had the Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. I feel like this conflict is causing you to take the deep dive. The Tower is the deep dive. The Tower is the breaking down of things to its studs. It's breaking things down to the foundations. Tearing away all the layers, expectations, or things that we've built up about ourselves. All the thoughts and beliefs about how we're supposed to act, who we're supposed to be, what boxes we put ourselves in. It's the breaking away, the tearing away of all those things so that you can get to the center, so that you can get to the middle of like who you really are, who you actually are. I feel like even though this unexpected conflict, in the moment it can feel very confusing, chaotic, and stressful. I feel like ultimately you have to trust that it is happening because it needs to be torn away. This conflict is actually revealing something that needs to be removed from your life, and by removing it, you're actually going to put yourself in a better place overall by getting rid of this negative or toxic thing. It's cutting out the rot so that you can protect and care for the rest of what is still here. Your last card, Sagittarius, is the Wheel of Fortune. So yes, there is positive change towards a new direction. There is positive things still happening for you. trusting in that magic, trusting that there are things happening for you at all times for your highest good. The Wheel of Fortune is really like changing luck. So if you've felt very unlucky lately, if you've felt like things are happening to you and that they are just, everything's going wrong, the Wheel of Fortune signals that there is a change happening for you. Your luck will be changing. And I feel like, you know, for some of you with that needing to trust that things are happening for your highest good, I feel like that Wheel of Fortune is really the moment that you reaffirm for yourself that feeling. That in the moment it may not have felt comfortable. It may not have felt like in the moment it was for your highest good. But the Wheel of Fortune is the acknowledgement of it. So I think eventually you will acknowledge that whatever this was that happened, this tearing down process, is happening for a reason. We're going to pull one last card for you for this reading. This is from The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And I wanted to leave with a positive message from the universe for you moving forward, Sagittarius. And your card says, when I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. So Sagittarius, trusting what you bring to the table, trusting your joy, your joyful presence is what it says. So you are a person who has a light about you. You are a person who lights up a room when you walk into it. And connecting with that part of yourself that, you know, brings light and positivity to other things is what attracts support from community, from the universe towards your endeavors. So trust in the magic we had with that white raven spirit. You're attracting support by trusting. Anyway, Sagittarius, that is where I'm going to leave you for this reading. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that I was able to help provide you some guidance in some way through this reading, through this message here today. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week.